One of the most amazing things that I love about sewing is that no matter how experienced you are, there's always something to learn. Nobody can know it all, and that makes the world of sewing so exciting to me. There are different genres of sewing, like bag making or quilting or clothes making. And then there are different techniques like smocking, embroidery, or machine sewing, just to name a few. Plus, there are many ways to do the same skill. Each person brings their own knowledge, experience, and history to their craft. In today's sponsored video, I'm going to share the world of Craftsy. My name is Saremy, and today I'm going to share the world of Craftsy, where I learned some new skills. Craftsy is an online community of creative, like-minded makers where members can find endless inspiration, advance their skills, and find their new favorite hobby. There are more than 2,000 classes in over 20 different categories. For fiber arts, Craftsy has you covered with classes in sewing, quilting, crochet, knitting, and weaving. But if you want to learn how to make cabinets, jewelry, learn to bake, garden, or even photography, there's classes for that too. There's always something new to learn at Craftsy, and today I'm going to show you how I learned how to refine some of my hand sewing techniques and embellishing from Natalie Shannon of Alabama Shannon. The first 1,000 viewers to click the link in the description will get a full year of premium Craftsy membership for only $1.49. This is available to new members only. So check the link in the description, it's right at the top, to check out the premium Craftsy membership. Thanks to Craftsy for sponsoring this video. I know it's a running joke amongst my community about how little I like hand sewing, but in my defense, it's not that I don't like hand sewing. I've just never really felt like I was doing it very well. I always felt adrift or like I was getting snarls and tangles, and I just lacked some key foundational techniques to make my hand sewing pleasurable and easy. And proof here. Here's my very first hand sewn project. I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. So hey, I definitely have it in my history. And I've appreciated embroidery and hand stitching for years. I've picked it up anywhere I can and when I can afford it. I have things from Ireland. I have these molas from Panama. I've never visited Panama, but I still really admire the work of these little handmade treasures, and I've never been brave enough to use them in a project, so you usually see them hanging around my studio because I love them so much. And I bought these at a fabric store that I was working at in Northern California a long time ago. In the 90s, I went down the silk ribbon embroidery rabbit hole, and I really loved silk ribbon embroidery because you could cover a lot of ground quickly without a lot of super detailed technique. And I used to embellish the inside neck of the shirts that I made for my boyfriend, now husband, and some secret little spots. I would also embroider the inside of his pocket, and only he knew about it. I may not have been good at hand sewing, but I've always been interested in embellishing, and I would do it in my own way, like on this vintage Pendleton shirt using wool and some scraps of the Pendleton itself. And we all know that I love to decorate the inside of a yoke or a facing or any kind of little detail where I can add some color or some flair. And when I had the chance in Mexico to buy an embroidered dress, I jumped at it. It was one of the only things that I had on my list when I was in Mexico, and I was able to get this dress that I cut down into a top so that I could wear it all the time. And if you saw me at home, you'd see how much I wear this. It's my absolute favorite garment that I own, and I didn't even make it. So to try and practice some of the skills I learned, I got out this project that I started a long time ago. When Helen's Closet came out with the March top, I jumped on it because I really wanted something like that Mexican top that you're seeing. The top has a really cool yoke, and so I drew an elaborate design way beyond my skill set. I drew it all in yellow washable marker. You can probably see what happened, and I was taking it on a road trip. And between the house and the car, a few drips of water from my water bottle got onto the canvas here and just washed out my entire design. I didn't know it, and so I got in the car and we happily started driving on our long trip, and I quickly realized my template was gone. So what you see here is stuff that I came up with. I'm happy with it considering how hard it was for me to do. But I'm really excited to put some of these techniques that I've learned into finishing this yoke since I still have the back. So far with my Craftsy class, I've done this chain stitch here. I did this stitch here. I did these circles with the French knot inside. This I did before I took the class. And then this was the hardest thing I did, was these hearts. It took me probably 5 tries to get the hang of this, and they're still a little uneven, but I think I finally got it. I'm really looking forward to finishing this out so I can finally sew this top that I've had sitting around in my whip bin for a really long time. The class uses these simple grids to make elaborate designs, and it really is quite impressive how simple something can be and what it can turn into. I used 3 lines of this diamond grid here to make the hearts, but this straight line of holes right here, I use that for the chain stitch. Here, this one is for the simple stitch that was straight up and down. And then I used 2 of these circles, one inside the other, for the circular motif that I did with the French knot in the middle. When I first saw these grids, I thought, how could these possibly be easy to understand and make really cool stitches? But wow, I'm so impressed by how versatile these can be, and I really liked having a pattern to follow. I know that's really unlike me, considering you see me not use patterns in sewing sometimes, or maybe I don't read the instructions, but as a beginner, I think it's really easy to be too ambitious, obviously, and also to just get off track. This gives me some training wheels to work with, and I really like that I didn't have to worry about where I was sewing, and I could just focus on the techniques that I learned from Natalie Shannon. I really have wanted to learn how to hand sew. The only thing I really hand sew in making clothes are buttons onto shirts. I know that's something I can use a machine to do, but I don't. I usually sew a button and I weave the shank. So I know that if I am committed to that technique, I can improve my hand sewing skills, and I'm determined to do so. So I'm really thankful that this was definitely the spark that I needed to sort of get some foundational skills that have stuck with me, and I can use these for future projects. A few of the really cool things I learned for the foundations of the hand sewing itself is using the grain of the thread. Now, this isn't the thread that is recommended in this course, but I'm going to finish using it for this project, and then I think I'm going to switch to the buttonhole thread or some just embroidery floss for future projects. This is pearl cotton that's used in crochet and knitting. Thread has a grain, and you can train it so that it's going to be a little more compliant for the hand sewing process. I also learned that you should needle your thread, not thread your needle, which makes a lot of sense. We all know that my least favorite task to do on camera is to thread the needle on my machine. And while this won't help me with that, I have this technique to needle the thread rather than thread the needle, which basically means that you're moving the needle onto the thread rather than poking the thread into the needle. When you moisten your thread, it gets thicker, so that can make it a little harder to slip into the eye of the needle. Flattening it out helps a lot. And one tip I learned from a viewer was to wet the needle so that it would sort of draw the thread through the eye, and I've actually found that this works pretty good too. This thread is a little fuzzy. It does need a little moisture sometimes, but mainly because it's fuzzy, not because it needs to be flattened into a point. I was able to print my grids onto some lightweight cardstock, and I used my Japanese screw punch, which you see me use for everything from marking snaps onto shirts or marking my drill holes and darts onto my patterns. This was really handy, although my tip is a little large for these holes, so I drew a line to make sure that I kept them straight. The other thing that I feel like really clicked for me is to not cut a really long piece of thread. I think we're all guilty of doing this. Natalie really puts it well by saying, you know, when you have a shorter piece of thread, you're pulling less through, and that's going to make your sewing faster. You're not going to be trying to pull a really long strand or have to disentangle it if it gets tangled. So using something that's about the length from your hand to your elbow is a lot more manageable, and I completely agree. It just made it so much more pleasurable to be able to draw through really quickly and do the stitches, and I made progress faster, which was really satisfying, and I didn't mind having to cut a new piece and thread the needle for the next section. So I'm really thankful some of these little techniques kind of clicked for me, and I can see the value in them and how much they're going to help my hand sewing. One thing I love about the class format on Craftsy is how it's divided into manageable sections. You can explore the new skill, learn that new technique, kind of sit with it and practice it before you move on to the next section. You can see they're divided up here on the right, and there's materials if you have downloadables and discussion threads as well. There are a lot of classes on Craftsy and a lot of categories to choose from. I'm definitely intrigued about weaving this seat stool. It sounds like it's a pretty involved process, and that intrigues me even more. Well, I hope the next time you see me, maybe, give me a little bit of time. I'll be wearing my March top that I finished using the techniques I learned on Craftsy, or maybe something even more colorful like this gorgeous Mexican blouse from Ensenada. Don't forget that the first 1,000 viewers to click the link in the description can become a premium Craftsy member for $1.49. And thanks to Craftsy for sponsoring this video. Happy sewing, or hand sewing.